The 10x Rule by Grant Cardone, and the subtitle of the book is The Only Difference Between Success and Failure. Grant Cardone is a motivational speaker, a sales coach, and this book really talks about one very important principle, the idea of taking massive, massive, massive action. So let's jump right into the first big idea of the book, which is the 10x Rule itself. Now, what is the 10x Rule? What Grant says is the first thing you want to do with the 10x Rule is you want to 10x your target. You want to multiply your target by 10 because your current target is probably not exciting you enough. It's not motivating you enough. It's not giving you enough passion. So 10x your target. And as you 10x your target, what you realize is now you have to take 10x more action. You have to take 10 times more action than what you thought you would need to take because you will have 10x more problems, 10x more challenges, 10x more obstacles in your way. So the 10x rule is saying, if you were to summarize the whole 10x rule, is saying you have to make your goals bigger. You have to 10x your goals, but in order to do that, in order to get to those goals, you will encounter 10 times bigger problems and challenges. And in order to counter those 10 times bigger problems and challenges, you will have to take 10 times more action. So 10x your actions, 10x your targets, and also realize that your problems will be 10x bigger. That's the first rule, or first big idea. The second big idea of this book is that average is bad. Average is really bad. When you go after average goals, when you go after mediocre goals, when you go after goals that don't really burn you, that don't really excite you, that don't really challenge you, you find that you do not give enough effort. You find that you have no passion, you have no fuel in the tank to go after the things that you really want because when your goals are average, there's nothing that propels you to say that there's nothing that's pushing you to go beyond where you are today. There's nothing that says you got to break this wall down. There's nothing that's saying you got to crawl under. You're gonna do whatever it takes. You're gonna crawl. You're gonna jump. You're gonna claw your way through it. You're gonna break this wall because you don't have that fire. You don't have that excitement for that goal. You don't have that passion for that goal. The goal is too small for you. So beware of making goals that are too small for you because then you may never find the joy and the excitement of going after something big. In fact, you're more likely, what Grant is saying is you're more likely to fail if your goals are average because there is no challenge, there's no passion. There's no passion with an average goal. You can only get passion through big goals with stuff that excites you. So beware of the trap of the average goal because it could actually lead you to fail on that average goal rather than having a really big goal which inspires you and hence you succeed at it. The third big idea is that problems and challenges are required in our life. You have to love problems, you have to love challenges. As you grow, as you get bigger, as you become more powerful, as you grow your business, you will not run out of problems. If you were trying to get to the stage where you just don't have any problems in life, you don't have any business problems in business, just stop this interview. Actually, stop listening to everything that we've been talking about. Stop listening to this podcast. Stop listening to this videos because if problems are to be avoided, if you are trying to avoid problems, you're living the wrong life. If you're living the wrong life, problems will always be there. And the bigger your problems, the bigger your life usually is. And what Grant is saying that as you continue to grow up in life, you will get bigger and bigger and bigger problems, and you should embrace them. You should realize these are what I do. These problems are like my meals. They are like my breakfast. I eat them for survival. They are what I need to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So don't run away from problems. Don't shy away from problems. Don't try to hide from problems. Just make yourself bigger than the next problem that comes your way. Because you'll keep on getting problems. You'll keep on having bigger and bigger problems all through life. The question is how you're going to face them. The question is, are you going to try to shy away from them or are you going to go after them? The fourth big idea is that competition, as Grant says, is competition is for sissies. And what he means is You don't want to compete. You don't want to compete. You want to dominate. You want to be the one who owns this space. You want to be the one that is this market. You are not going to be the one who's just going to do average work and be just one of the many competitors. You're going to dominate this space. You're going to be the biggest, the baddest guy because you're going to outwork everyone. You're going to use the 10x rule and you are the space. You're not one of the players in the space. You are the space. So don't think of competition as a lot of the times as an entrepreneur, you think like, okay, well, let me try to outdo them here. Think, how can I just dominate the space? How can I just dominate so that all the competition becomes irrelevant? How can I dominate such that how this competition becomes irrelevant? An interesting book to talk about or to think about is the Blue Ocean Strategy, which again, in a very different perspective on how to not try to compete, but to create new market spaces. Very different philosophy from what Grant is trying to tell us from the 10x rule, but very interesting philosophy on how to not always compete. Another book is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Again, very different philosophy on how to not compete, but how to just dominate. All these books are amazing, different philosophies on domination, not competition. Now, the fifth big idea is commit. To just commit first and then figure it out. A lot of the times what we end up doing to ourselves is we look at all the different contingencies. We want to look at all the different planning components. We want to look at the plan 10, 20 steps down the line, but it is absolutely not possible. Our job is just to say, I'm going to commit to this and I'm going to figure it out along the way. As George Patton, the great warrior, he said, a good plan violently executed today is much better than a great plan executed a week from now. What he's saying is, figure it out, commit to a plan, and just start taking action on it, and you'll figure it out on the way. Don't try to outthink it. Don't try to figure out all the contingencies of everything that's going to happen, because as soon as you come in contact with the enemy, as soon as you come in contact with the war, with the real business, all your plans will go to naught, because now you have different kinds of problems than what you even anticipated. So your job is just to commit and then figure it out as you go, rather than try to figure it out before you even commit. The sixth big idea is that success is your duty, it's your obligation, it's your responsibility, because a lot of the times somehow we have this notion, this idea that some things, the stars will align and it will all work out for me. But that's not the case. That's not what Grant is saying. Grant is saying that if it's going to happen, it is all up to you. It's all up to me. If it's going to happen, I'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. It is my responsibility. It is my obligation. It is my duty, because, and the reason why he says it's my duty is because unless and until you are passionately following your the thing that you're after, unless and until you really are burning with that desire for something, you're not really lit up in life. You're not really passionately living your life. So it is really important to go after success as if it's your duty, if it's your moral obligation, if it's your responsibility, and absolutely your responsibility, because it's nobody else's responsibility, and it's not just going to work itself out. It's not just going to happen all by itself. It's not going to happen all by itself. Che Guevara, the great revolutionary, he said about revolution, he said, a revolution is not like a ripe apple that just falls off the tree. That's not what a revolution is. A revolution is like an apple that you have to just shake the tree up in order to get the apple fall down from the tree. So really important idea about owning your success, about owning the fact that if the success is going to happen, it's all up to me. It's all up to me. And before we close this, I want to read this beautiful poem that I read in this book called How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling, a great book on sales. And the author has this poem that's very relevant to what Grant Cardone is saying. And let me just read it out to you. It says, "You are the man who used to boast that you'd achieve the utmost. Someday you merely wish to show, to demonstrate how much you know, and prove the distance you can go. Another year we've just passed through. What new ideas came to you? How many big things did you do? Time left 12 fresh months in your care. How many of them did you share with opportunity and dare? Again, where you so often missed. We do not find you on the list of makers good. Explain the facts." No, it was not the chance you lacked. As usual, you failed to act. As usual, you failed to act. Really, really important idea here that our success is our responsibility. It's not the fact that we don't have enough chances, that we're not getting enough opportunities or anything like that. If it's going to be, it's up to me. That is the whole point. So take massive action. Take massive, massive, massive action. That's what Grant Cardone's message is to you.